Okay, I'm not really sure what I'll get done today. I came out here mainly to check on that concrete slab that's getting poured behind me. But I got Precious out so that I could get the Kubota 3901 out. And you can see, I'm gonna back up here. You can see I've got one of my feeders in there and 3 bags of corn. I think it takes 6 bags of corn to fill it. It's funny how year to year you forget all this stuff. But I've got that feeder, and that's the one that I've got a solar panel hooked up to. I'm going to use the tractor as my carry-all and take that to the back plot and set up that feeder. I got a battery with me, fill it with 3 bags of corn, and set it in front of the camera. Okay, so I disced up this plot a couple weeks ago to kind of start chopping up these summer grasses. I got to get in here and spray. It's still way too thick to run the rototiller, but it's real choppy right there in front of the tractor. And what I want to do is use the back blade of the tractor and just create a real nice smooth area for the feeder. Not so much that it'll tip over, but just so the corn will be more readily accessible for the deer. They won't have to find it down in the crooks and crannies of the disc land, and so that they'll eat it and clean it up, and it won't be there for the raccoons and squirrels to get. So that's what I'm going to do next. Okay, so I got my solar panel pointed to the south. That is the primary direction that the sun is across the back of the camera. And then I hooked my battery up. I have one red terminal going to the timer, one red terminal going or coming from solar power, and the same with the 2 blacks. Both the negatives going, one to the timer and one to the solar panel. Okay, so these Moultrie timers are relatively easy to set. So it's currently 10:32. So I'll take this down to 10:32. And of course, it'll be daylight savings time here in a few weeks, and I'll have to change this. 10:32, that's set. And then what time do I want it to come on the first time? I'd say 6 a.m. I don't want it too dark. I don't want the deer to get used to feeding in the dark. And deer are naturally nocturnal or crepuscular, so you only see them at dawn and dusk normally. So let's set this for 6 a.m. and we'll give it 6 seconds. That's good. I only have 3 bags of corn. This feeder, I think it's a 200-pound feeder, so it'll take 4 bags of corn at least. But I only have 3, so I don't want to run it out until I start filling it more regularly. So I got the first 6 a.m. feeding time at 6 seconds. And then at night, we'll go for 4:30 probably. Try to get them to start coming out earlier. I don't bow hunt, so I'm really not going to hunt in October. And we'll do 6 seconds, then we'll check the other ones. That's 0, number 4, 0, number 5 is 0. Number 6 is 0. Okay, so she's all set. We'll throw some corn in here and run a test in a second. Okay, I'm going to share a little hack, a little bag opening hack. So always look for a single string that's holding a bag together. If it's a double string, that's a single string, and you can actually zip that string. But most of these bags will come with a little tab, and it's the same tab on both sides. But pulling the tab from the left will give you a totally different result than pulling the tab from the right. So what I always remember, going back to my childhood, is single string on the right, and then I say something silly in my head like, opens bag without fright. So if you've ever not had a bag zip, you know how frustrating it can be, and you need a knife to open it. And I didn't bring a knife, so I would actually have to go back to the truck to get one. So I'm going to try and do this and hold the camera at the same time. So single string on the right, grab that, and it'll zip. And what it does, I'll show you here. What it does is it just unwinds the string. So if you look on this side, you can watch that string unwind. Now it doesn't always work perfectly. I mean, it will definitely work single string on the right, but it doesn't always pull perfectly. But that's definitely the side you have to start it. So I'm going to open all these bags before I climb up on this bucket. Mud dauber nest inside I got to knock out, or else the corn won't flow freely. Okay, you saw when I went to knock that mud dauber nest out by leaning the feeder towards myself, the leg fell off, and that happens all the time. But then the leg fell against a bag of corn and put a hole in the bag of corn. So that was fun. All right, so the way you test this is you go to your setting, 6 a.m. Hold on, 4:30 p.m. All right, double checking. All right, current time, 6 a.m. start time, 6 seconds. Now you just hold the set button. And you'll see it go, testing getaway, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this, so that's a test, and I think the test is equal to the amount of time you set your feeder for. So you can see it puts a decent amount of corn on the ground, and most of the corn stays where I smoothed it out with the bucket, so it's real easy for the deer to find. Normally I'd have a camera right about there, facing the north, but my camera is actually back there, right there. And to keep it out of the way while I'm planning this plot. So I'll move that camera. I have it on a little 4x4 post, and I'll just dig a hole with some post hole diggers. But that is setting up the first feeder of the year. It's October 1st. We'll start getting the deer used to using this plot. And in 3 years, I've never harvested a deer from this plot, and I don't know that I'll start this year. But I'm definitely going to keep them fed. Like we've said in other videos, we like having deer around. They're probably going to be a problem when we start having a garden, but we don't have a garden now. So we want to see them. We want to keep them on the property. It's all part of living in the country, is enjoying looking at wildlife. Okay, even sped up, that might have been painful to watch. But this is only the second time I've towed this tractor on this trailer, and I got an hour to tow it, so I want to make sure it's correct. So what I'm worried about is any place that a tight strap hits a sharp edge. So I want to protect the strap with these nylon ballistic strap protectors. And I do the same thing up here. I hook inside this round frame piece on the loader, and that's better than any other place I've found on a Kubota. So I hook inside of there, and then I double up some strapping under my main strap. And with this trailer, the only place to strap, Bella's helping, the only place to strap is up underneath. I can't go through that hole. So, and then of course on the bucket, I want to get a strap on the bucket, 3 points on the tractor, actually 4 points, because that one's on each side. But here I've got some strapping under the ballistic nylon so that the tractor frame, or the bucket, so that the front end loader frame doesn't cut through the strapping. And basically the same thing on the side. But that's what took me so long, was making sure all that was right and protected, that strap was protected. So the last thing I want to do is lose my very expensive tractor. That would not be good. Harm my trailer or my tractor. Because those of you that own tractors and that Homestead know that they're a very important piece of equipment, and they're also very expensive. I don't want to hurt my truck, of course, and I also don't want to hurt anybody behind me that, you know, the tractor falls off or parts fall off and hits their car or goes through their windshield or something like that. So I want to make it as safe as, I want to make it legal. I want to make it as safe as possible and protect my investment. So that's why that took so long. Should be quicker next time. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is air up my shocks. So it says my shocks have 18 pounds of air in them, but that's only because the weight of the trailer is on them. So I'm going to put 20 in them. 25. I'm going to go ahead and put 30 in them. I can always let air out. Normally I'd air them up about 25 to 35 before the tractor's on, or before the weight is on the hitch. But with the weight on the hitch, it's kind of hard to gauge how much needs to be in the air shock. So I'm going to put an accurate gauge on here. It says there's 30 in that one. And 28 in that one. What really matters is how much the truck is squatting. So it looks like my front wheel well is showing more above the tire than my rear wheel well, so I'm going to put some more air in them. Okay, I ended up with about 35 psi in each air shock, left and right, and my truck is sitting pretty level. It's not squatting in the rear, so that'll give me more weight forward on my front tires, better traction and steering control when I'm towing, rather than the rear of the truck squatting down. So I think she's ready. I've got chains on. I've got my lights, my electric brakes hooked up. 3 straps, really 4. Tires all have air. I think that she's ready to go.